Wiki wild, y'all. I try not to make too many wild west jokes.
No, I love that.
So
Wickedy wow.
wiki
All right. Let's do
right.
this.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to Rough Draft Research.
We're back.
We are back with our division breakdowns. We've done 3.
It's been a whole
We're on
week.
to number 4. It's been a whole week. We're excited to be with you. I bet you can't guess. If you're not watching YouTube, you're doing it wrong.
That's right.
If you're watching YouTube, you'll know what division we're about to talk about. But before we get into that, Daniel, what are we about to do?
I promised you last week that we were going to take it up a notch, not only with the quality of the teams we're talking about, but with the enthusiasm in which we talk about them. So we're getting into the AFC West, but not too late. Remember that NFC West last week when we were like, oh man, these are some weird teams. Well, we got to rehash all that right now by giving you the top at each position for that division.
Right. And a reminder, we're doing this because when we get to the end of the divisions, we will rank those top 8s.
Yeah.
Which is going to be super fun.
And we'll find out who's the real top, who's the whipped cream or the cherry. I don't know. It depends on if you're into the cherry thing because the cherry is sometimes on top. I quit with whipped cream. So, and when we're talking about cherries and cups and whipped creams, and Cooper Cup, like, let's just get that out of the way. Wide receiver for the division.
Yeah, he's the best wide receiver right now.
Which is crazy because there's some lit-ass wide receivers in the NFC West, but he knocks them all down, man.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So, cool. How about let's get a little easier. What about the quarterbacks? You got Kyler. You got unknowns, and you think Kyler?
Stafford would have an argument, but I would go Kyler with the running ability.
Okay, well,
I'm not as into the Cardinals, but like I don't know. I think we've seen Kyler's potential.
I gotta ask, like, you're on the board and you got Trey Lance sitting there. You're not intrigued?
I'm intrigued, but I'm not crowning him the best in the division right now. We haven't even seen him play one game. And
I'm
it wasn't
with you.
I mean, with the allure of the mystery, you could almost put Trey Lance over Matt Stafford. We're talking Dynasty, talking about long-term success.
Yeah.
We started at, time 0. Point of origin.
I mean, we
did
that with Trevor Lawrence last week, and putting him over Matt Ryan for that exact reason. So I get it, but Kyler's still young now.
Yeah. I got to tell you, I one time drafted Kyler Murray in a startup league or rookie draft or for the belt draft, and then I was like, what does this undo button do? Undo it, took DK Metcalf. And nobody said anything to me.
No, they said some stuff.
Not to me.
Yeah,
they said some
stuff
shit
to me.
That league, man.
I was green, man. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But anyway,
I'm pretty sure you texted me the whole time, and you're like, "I'm just gonna do it and see if it works." So he knew what he was.
I think
doing
I would have been
America.
happy either way.
Yeah, you would have.
Anyway, let's move on to the running back.
That's where it gets a little sticky, man.
It does.
So obviously you're looking at James Conner. You got Elijah Mitchell. Maybe you're talking about Cam Akers. And then there's Darrell Henderson. You got Rashad Penny. And call me crazy. I'm going with the Doke, dude.
Yeah,
I'm going with Kenny the Doke.
I want that.
Yeah, I kind of would go with that too. I mean, I guess it immediately flies in the face of what I just said about Trey Lance only playing one game, but I'm kind of with you. That's the guy out of these guys I would want the most. So like, I don't know, just because last week we talked about it with Cam Akers. Just we're not super sold on the injury comeback, and with Darrell Henderson there. So yeah, I think Walker's a good shout. I love Elijah Mitchell. Just the question marks there.
In case you're watching,
Elijah,
still love you.
But,
yeah, I thought it was interesting too. Darrell Henderson's only 24 years old.
Yeah, man.
Damn.
That Memphis youth.
But yeah, all right. So Ken Walker, I think we all are in agreement on there. Man, I don't know how many times we did that startup mock, and I saw Cam Akers staring at in my face in like the third, and I was like, ew.
I don't know how many mocks I did for our Superflex rookie draft where I took Ken Walker and then didn't on draft day.
Probably 80%, right?
Yeah, probably something like that.
So then now we got the old tight end.
Yeah.
Who even plays tight end in this division?
You got Zach Ertz,
Noah Fant,
George Kittle, and Tyler
fucking
Higbee.
George Kittle. It's
Yeah,
George
yeah.
Kittle. Yeah.
There he is. He's back.
Honestly, low key though, I love Zach Ertz this
Yeah.
year. But yeah, I think you got to go Georgie.
Also, just shout out to Zach Ertz for having one of the most longest lasting pun fantasy names with my ball Zach Ertz. I've seen it since like 2011. Feels
Yeah.
like. So
Classic.
Zach
We need to give him
Ertz.
an award to whoever came up with that.
yeah.
That's hilarious. Yep.
All right, so now we're staying in the West.
Wildest West. It's not as much west as the other ones.
Yeah, it's more Midwest.
We're still staying west of the Mississippi, but yeah, near West Central. West Central. I don't know.
So we're gonna start with, if you hadn't guessed it, the Kansas City Chiefs. You know, home favorites. Two of us used to be one of us, or all three of us. Sorry, fuck that up.
This is the get up I wear when the Packers aren't playing and I'm watching the games with Taylor.
Yeah, exactly. This is
Chiefs
the
shirt
get up
on.
I wear when the Chiefs aren't playing the Vikings or the Bills, because I can't help it. I got to wear my Stephon Diggs jersey because it's red.
That's
it
fair.
confuses everybody in the town. They're like, hey, cool Chiefs jersey. I'm like, sucker. See you in the
Must
playoffs.
Must love. And this is my Christmas present for my wife, Chris Jones.
Nice.
Yeah,
Pretty
huge,
fun until you said that.
huge fan.
No, I'm
but-
just kidding. No, that's awesome.
It will
man.
be quickly replaced by a Nick Bolton jersey this year. Woo!
What up?
Woo. Maybe I'll be rocking number 24. Let's get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it. We'll start with Andy Reid. I don't know, man. I just not
Andy
only.
Reid?
Not only am
Philadelphia.
I a little underprepared, but we
Philadelphia.
know what he is. Philadelphia head coach from 1999 to 2012.
Walrus.
Then works his way over the Kansas City Chiefs, kind of revitalizes that entire franchise with drafting one of the most prolific quarterbacks that we've seen.
They actually traded for Alex Smith. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
So I think I'm just going to go in and let you all talk about, because I think it's more interesting to talk about the offensive changes, because that's going to have a lot more to do with how this team is successful in this stacked division. So we'll start with the offensive line on over to y'all. Christian?
Yeah. I mean, this one's kind of obvious. The biggest question here is what the hell's going on with Orlando Brown? Is he going to play? Is he going to sign? And that's the biggest thing. Andy Reid came out and said that if he didn't play, Joe Thuney could take over left tackle easily. He's not worried about it. And that's probably true. Joe Thuney's a hell of a player. But if you do that, who plays left guard? You know, like, it doesn't matter if you get somebody to play left tackle if you're losing one of the best linemen to do it. So you need Orlando Brown. That's what I'm saying. Lucas Niang was up and down last season on the other side at right tackle. So if you don't have Brown on that side and you give up left guard Joe Thuney to fix the left tackle, now that weakness at right tackle in Niang is even more predominant. Whereas if you have Brown, you can help out Niang on the other side while he kind of gets his feeding under him. But, I mean, props to the Chiefs. They built a top 5 offensive line in one season. Is incredible to watch, and I feel like they're going to be right around there if Brown plays. So that's where we're at. We just got to wait and see what's going on with Brown.
Man, yeah, I hope that they can lock him down long term.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want to play for Kansas City? You know,
Who would-
best quarterback in this side of the asteroid belt. You know what I mean? So you got to do what you got to do. Well, what do you think? You guys think we just move on to the next team, or?
Jesus.
All right. Pat Mahomes.
Shots fired.
Heard of this guy? He was the quarterback 4 last year, and he topped out in 2018 as a quarterback 1 with that 50 TD season. He hasn't quite been up to that level these past couple of years, but that's okay because he's a more complete quarterback now. He unlocked the check down last year, and now he has to reinvent himself with a pretty new offensive weapons cast. So I'm in it. I'm in it to win it. We saw last year there was a lot of struggles early on, the interceptions. But then, pretty much from week 9 on, there was only 3 picks. They obviously hit a little kryptonite, and those little tiger cats, them little Bengals, getting at him, swiping, pawing at him. And if it weren't for that, they seem kind of unstoppable down the stretch. Mm-hmm. They punish the Bills in brutal coin flipping ways. And I feel like there's a chance for them to be kind of a more humble, unified force going into the year. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Tyreek's amazing, but come on, if you can diversify some of that power and have a solid foundation instead of just, flares up in the airs, Clyde Edwards, Hilaire's. I don't know where I'm going with this. So, skipping straight to the running back room, unless you're going to talk about Pat.
Nah, I mean, he's Pat.
Yep, can't say much about him. Got another kid on the way. They said that kid was really what threw him off of his game, Having a child can mess up your life,
Fuck it up.
I wouldn't know. It's the greatest thing that ever happened to me. But, number 2 to the podcast, but whatever. Here we go.
What about that Super Bowl?
Oh, my God. Oh, jeez. All right, so Clyde comes up. He was running back 45 last year. In 2020, he was the running back 22. So he missed quite a few games with some injuries. And believe it or not, 40% of his games that he actually played ended up with more than 15 fantasy points. I find that hard to believe. But
yes, I do too.
Yeah, but it's like 4 games, right? 40%
Yeah,
of 10 games. But the thing is, he was getting snap percentages in the 60s and 70s. Like, that's bell cow numbers. Mm-hmm. And to only be producing 15s on your fantasy weeks, really, really disappointing. Not catching the ball you're supposed to be, like you were when you were playing with Joey B. It's just the problem has to lie kind of in him because they've had great pass catching backs. I mean, they freaking turned Darrell Williams into a pass catcher. Damian Williams are revitalizing Jet McKinnon. Something just tells me that it's the end of the road. It's the end of the road a little bit for Mr. CEH. And maybe it's the beginning of a new chapter for another guy.
Rojo?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that camp battle is going to be a lot closer than people think it might be. Rojo versus CEH, because I'm with you, man. Like, he's had the opportunity. It's not about opportunity with CEH. There's just something not clicking. So I don't know. They got to try something else.
Absolutely. Yeah, and when you look at Rojo, wide receiver 63 last year.
Wide receiver?
Or running back 63. Yeah, he wasn't much of a receiver. We could just throw that out. But he was number 20 running back in the year 2020. So he's got it in him to be a high-level performer. He actually only has 1 career game with 50% or greater snap count under 10 fantasy points. So if he gets the volume, he's starting to produce in a heavy way. He just wasn't getting volume. Obviously, we know Fournette kind of slammed the door on him, but it's got consistent, 4.2 yards per carry outside of his rookie year, upwards of 5 yards per carry in that big 2020 season. And the volume has to be available to him. You got Darrell Williams, RB18 is out of town. So the volume is there. The faith in Clyde Edwards has to be slipping. Rojo's kind of a more complete back. And I think he's really going to get it done. I think he's got a pretty good shot. I'm warming to him pretty heavily. I was very happy to have just traded CEH for a future first in Dynasty League. Made me happy to get out of that with a profit. So yeah, I don't know if you got anything in the backfield. Hit me.
No, I just echoing you. I've been out on the CEH train, and yeah, I think Rojo has a chance here. It's going to be a 1-year deal for Rojo. I don't remember. Regardless, he's going to have a chance to play, and behind that good line and with Mahomes, he should see some decent numbers if he can play.
$1.5 million for a single season.
Yeah, so
Jeez.
Give him a shot.
Yeah, that's a budget signing. But, are we rolling into wide receivers, talking about budget signings and that kind of thing?
Yeah, let's do it.
So I guess the red hot name going into this has got to be Juju Smith-Schuster. He was a ghost in the wide receiver rankings last year, but he had that number 8 wide receiver season in 2018, back in the day when he was like 19 playing in the NFL or whatever, still a young man, still got a lot to prove. And that's basically what he's out to do. And I think a lot hinges on this year for him. He got the 1-year prove-it deal worth upwards of $10.7 million. So I'm excited about him. I think he's great. We know what he can do with the ball in his hands. And what do you guys? Where are you guys at with Juju?
No, I mean I've been saying it all offseason, and if you haven't heard it yet on the pod, I think this was kind of the perfect place for Juju. I think he takes a lot of the pressure off Travis Kelsey, which I think is something that they were missing. Hill was the deep threat, and obviously Hill played all over the field. He's an incredible player, but that was what he was for. And then once they took that away, you kind of focus on Kelsey and everything on over the middle. Juju gives you another powerful presence over the middle because Juju will go in there. He'll play. He'll get the gritty yards. He'll take the hits over the middle, and that's the kind of guy they need. Now you have Kelsey and Juju in the middle there. Pat can pick them apart, and then you throw in MVS over the top. I think it can work pretty well. Skye Moore, fucking Jesus.
Yeah, Skye Moore, Jesus. I like that. About to get that custom jersey. Yeah, you mentioned MVS, who follow the money, show me the money. He got the 3-year, $10 million a year deal. So that's a long-term investment. That's a big commitment to a guy who was a wide receiver 80 last year and has had the best season in 2020 as a wide receiver 56. So not always on the
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to speak to that because going into this week, I really wanted to get really hyped about MVS and compare Rodgers down the field attempts of 20 or more yards to Mahomes of 20 or more yards, expecting Mahomes to have way more and be like, see, it was just that MVS didn't get the opportunity. But Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes threw the exact same amount of passes for 20 yards or more at 69. Both of them. Yeah, nice. And we can compare those stats. So Mahomes' completion percentage was 45% for 1,071 yards, 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Compare that to Rodgers at 39% completion percentage, 941 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. So they're like 100 yards off, close to touchdown to interception ratio. Completion percentage is a little better for Mahomes. So honestly, I don't know how this MVS thing is going to work because I was expecting him to have a lot more opportunity to throw the ball deep, but it sounds like he's going to get a very similar production as far as attempts downfield. And MVS is a lot more of a one-trick pony than Hill ever was. I mean, look at their yards per catch. MVS is sitting at 16 and a half, and Tyreek Hill's at 11. So he did a lot more work. And so now when I look at this offense and I see Skye Moore coming alive, and he's going to take some of the outside and over the middle stuff. Juju's taking the over the middle stuff. Kelsey's still there. I think MVS might fall into kind of the same type role that he was in Green Bay. And he may never get maybe the wide receiver 40, maybe 30s, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if he ever becomes that crazy. Like, what are you thinking?
I guess I better cut him on this waivers that's running tonight.
I don't know about that.
I was pumped about him. I just thought like he has some serious pop games throughout his career.
That's
and the
true.
thing he's missing is consistency. And in a situation with Devonte Adams, it's like you're never gonna be the guy. And then we ran through Alan Lazard and how he's he is a better receiver than the stats show.
Oh yeah, big time.
So now you put him in a situation where he has no competition for the niche role that he's been known for. And I mean, maybe Mecole gives him a little bit of competition there, but this is a veteran, There's something that they liked about him, something they felt they could do with him long term. So they gave him a 3-year deal, $30 million. It's not nothing.
Yeah.
Feel
100%.
like they got some potential to get really serious here. I'm loving this team as far as I don't think it's going to be as exciting, like
But
Mahomes
Yeah.
gets like he was throwing out the wild passes and all this crazy stuff, and he's still going to do that. He's still going to Mahomes it. I don't know if he can throw the ball with 2 feet on the ground anymore, but
Hey, never hurt Rodgers.
yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. Like if it works, it works. But yeah, as far as like needing to have those over the top plays, like he's looking at a super consistent wide receiver core, and the sky is the limit when it comes to Skye Moore. This is a guy that I'm super excited about, pumped. It doesn't take much for me to get excited for a Western Michigan wide receiver. So here we go.
I was just gonna throw out the name, Desean Jackson.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
Only saying that because we saw him play a similar role
What the Raiders?
with the Eagles.
Oh,
That happened to be
Andy Reid.
I don't know, Andy Reid. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
There's a role to be played in that, and it's I think it's up to MVS to show that. But it's definitely there. He will be a tool in that offense. So I think there is definitely upside.
Yeah, there's potential.
Oh, yeah.
I guess I was just expecting to look at the numbers and get more excited, and I didn't really. When I looked at the numbers, it wasn't like, oh man, there's some massive spot for MVS to go. But also that offense is going to change. It has to without Hill. So like we don't know what they're going to do. So 100%. If you follow the money, MVS could be a thing. I just wanted to pop that little warning flag up because it's if I had asked you who threw more 20-yard passes, Mahomes or Rodgers, all of us probably would have said Rodgers or Mahomes right off the rip, And to see that they actually threw the exact same amount was just kind of shocking to me. And so it made me just.
Is that air yards or like total yards?
Just attempts of 20 or more yards. Air
okay.
Yards. Yeah.
Yeah. You put Aaron Jones on the Chiefs, and it would have been Pat Mahomes easy.
Yeah.
Just saying. I'm just saying.
Okay.
3-dimensional over there in Cheeseville, Wisconsin. I just wanted to say that I think that Skye Moore is going to represent a bit of that Tyreek Hill role, only in like the end zone and the like third down safety valve.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm looking for him to get like just to keep the that's the whole thing with the Chiefs, like converting third downs. Like they try to score every play, and that worked for 1 year back in 2018, but it hasn't really held up over the years. So they need to be more dynamic. They need to take it 4 downs at a time or whatever, 3 downs at a time. And I think Skye Moore is going to make that easier.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
He's a hell of a player.
Dude, he's so good. I'm pumped. Let me just slow it down. Let me pump it in reverse. Yep. Okay. Let's see. Travis Kelsey was the tight end 2 last year after being number 1 5 years straight. Enough said.
Wow. I'm sure he'll be 1 or 2 again.
Enough said.
Yeah, I do
All right.
worry. He got beat up a little in the early part of the year last year. He played through it and performed well through it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's gonna be getting a lot of heat to start the season until that they can prove that they have
that. Yeah. 100%. But he's such a good player, future Hall of Famer most likely. So like, you expect him to come around. But yeah, it may be a rough start for Kelsey. You want to get into this defense a little bit?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this defense actually on paper. I think the addition of Carlos Dunlap is one of the better late period free agent signings I've seen in a while. Like I know he's older, but he still had 35 pressures and 10 sacks last season. You add him to a Chiefs front seven that includes Chris Jones, Frank Clark, 2021 rookie standout Nick Bolton, 2022 first round picks George Karlaftis, and that is spicy. That's a spicy front seven. And then you go to the back end, you got Snead rising up every year as a corner. I really like the first round pick at Trent McDovey. Obviously, corner is famously a tough rookie transition, but I think it could be good, especially with Snead there. And Justin Reid isn't the highlight reel that Tyrann Mathieu is, but he's a damn good player at safety. Just solid player. So I think this defense, it could be pretty freaking good in Kansas City this year.
Yeah. I'm excited to see Brian Cook too, safety out of Cincinnati, That's a strong team. Yeah, they really peppered the draft, 7 players on the defensive side of the ball, and that's in a big way. So I'm pumped, man. Obviously, I got a defensive jersey. You already heard me talking about getting a Nick Bolton jersey.
Nick Bolton, baby.
So when it comes to the Chiefs, you'd think that I'd be crazy about the offense, but it's actually not exactly the situation. So sweet action.
I think you're going to be happy man this year.
It's going to be a fucking crazy division.
Yeah, dude.
Yes.
Well, speaking of that, let's move on to the LA Chargers, where we got Brandon Staley there at the head coach, but I'm going to bring up Joe Lombardi, the offensive coordinator. So he was the coordinator last year, and I like to just follow the stats here. Let's go back to 2014 when he's the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. And I'm just following targets here. That was the Golden Tate, Calvin Johnson year. We're talking 144 targets to Golden Tate, 128 to Calvin Johnson. And then third on that target list, only at 56, we're talking Reggie Bush, the running back, right? Okay, let's go to 2015. He was fired halfway through the year after they started 1-6. But still, we got Calvin Johnson, 149. We got Golden Tate, 128. And then Theo Riddick, running back, with 99 targets. Okay, let's flash forward to where he is hired as a quarterback coach of the New Orleans Saints.
That's true.
So we'll move on. I mean, just the quarterback coach, but he is learning under old Pete Carmichael. And so insert 2017 Alvin Kamara. And how many times have we talked about running back longevity episode? We're not talking touches on the ground. We're talking passing yards, being elusive in that passing game. Alvin Kamara, 100 targets, even to Michael Thomas's 149 in 2017. 2018, we're looking at 105 targets to Alvin Kamara. 2019, the leading receiver, Michael Thomas. But then we got Alvin Kamara, number 2.
Nice.
And then I got ahead of myself. 2020, Alvin Kamara with 107 targets. Then he comes to the LA Chargers, where we see Austin Eckler with 94 targets. Also, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. He's able to supply 2 solid receivers and a running back in a PPR league, man. Like, I'm telling you, Joe Lombardi might be the guy to follow if you're looking for that creme de la creme leading number one receiver in a Keenan Allen of 157 targets and a PPR running back. So that's kind of the pattern I saw. So let's go into an aging Austin Eckler and see how everyone feels about this.
Are we doing Eckler now?
Go for the
No.
O-line.
O-line.
Don't let this guy.
All right.
I was getting ahead of myself.
Turkey.
That previous conversation we was having.
Okay. So yeah, I'm with you. The Chargers offense is going to be great, and it's crazy because I used to not be able to stand the Chargers. People get really excited about them every year, and then they come out and be middling. But the way the front office is building this team right now has me pumped. They had one of the worst lines in the league in 2020. They finished 10th best last year, and the way they did that, 2 free agency signings. They got arguably the best center in the league in Corey Linsley, and then they get an upgrade at guard in Matt Filer. And then their biggest move is they go out and get Rashawn Slater, who absolutely slayed it in his rookie season. Mm-hmm. And so you know what they do, though? And this is what makes me love the way they're building this team. They didn't stop there. They spent another first-round pick on the offensive line, and they got Zion Johnson. And now give me this Chargers line. This Chargers line has potential to be one of the best. Right tackle is the only spot that they could kind of have an issue here. And I think they could even throw Zion Johnson out there if they absolutely needed him to. But I think that's the only spot. So they got to fix that right tackle spot eventually. But man, like this line, I'm really into it. And I think you're setting up Justin Herbert for a hell of a season right now.
Yeah, old Herbie McFurby. I couldn't remember his first name. It's Justin. Now we know. He was the quarterback too last year, and that's as good as it gets for him. I mean, the thing that we are going to get into with this offense is that the supporting staff is unchanged.
It's the same.
So there's the coaching staff, year 2 for that staff. For me, Herbert is locked to be Herbert, Like some people should have taken him as over Josh Allen and Dynasty Superflex startup, People are crazy, dude. I'm insane. All right, so I'm just going to not talk about Justin Herbert because what are you going to say? What are you going to say? It's over
He's
for me.
sick. Yeah, he's sick.
But you know who else is ill? No, I'm sure. Austin Eckler, man. So I know that the world is super pumped about him, but I think that he was the running back 2 last year, and I don't think that that's sustainable.
No.
I know that you've got your reasons, and I've got my reasons. I'm just going to throw out one quick little stat, and then I'll let you have at him. Last year represented a 53% rush attempt increase over what he had without Melvin Gordon prior. So that is not sustainable.
Nope.
And what else?
Neither is my dog having 20 goddamn touchdowns last season.
You kidding
we all
me?
you see articles coming out saying you shouldn't trust Jonathan Taylor because he had 20 touchdowns as the RB1. Like, get the fuck out of here. You think Austin Eckler's going to get 20 touchdowns again? Are you kidding me? 2020, he played in 10 games, I grant you, but how many touchdowns did he have in those 10 games? Fucking 3. You tell me he's going to get 20 again? Get out of here with this crap. He'll be a top 10 back. I love Austin Eckler. But the time to get Austin Eckler to win your fantasy league, which is what people are trying to do now, was last fucking year. You missed it unless you did it. Like, I don't understand how a 27-year-old running back is going to all of a sudden sustain this level of play. I don't get it. His previous high in touchdowns was 11. So you're talking 9 more touchdowns than his previous high. I'm not interested in him at his current ADP. I'm not. I would rather take somebody like Aaron Jones later, who I think has the same upside. Both of them has finished as the RB2 before. Both of them are consistent top 10 running backs. He's going in like the 6th round of a startup. Where did Austin Eckler go? 3rd round? maybe second.
Yeah.
Like that's insane to me. I would rather take a wide receiver where Austin Eckler's going and go Aaron Jones or somebody with potential upside as Austin Eckler later. I feel bad because I love Austin Eckler. Back in my old shot takes days, that was one of my sleepers that I called in 2018. I love Austin Eckler, but this wave of him being the next superstar running back is crazy to me.
Yep. Yeah, Dynasty PPR ADP of 9. That's non-Superflex. Superflex is 19.
Okay.
So that's the second round draft pick right there.
Second round. And I get it. He just did it. He was the RB2. He's also 27 and had 20 touchdowns last year. So pay that if you want to. I'm not willing to.
Yeah, draft for the future, not the past. 100 picks later, you could get Isaiah Spiller. So
there you go.
I mean, I'm not going to rehash the chronicles of failure for the Chargers drafting supplemental running backs, but I can tell you that none of them started out as a starter their freshman year of college and averaged just under 1,000 yards per season with a 5.5 yard per carry average and 25 touchdowns over 3 seasons with at least 20 catches every single year. Just telling you, Isaiah Spiller is a real person, and he's coming for Austin Eckler's rushing work, and he is going to be amazing. You heard everything he said about that offensive line. You think that they put a guy who was, arguably in the running to be a top 2 running back in this draft class before his athletic measurables were a little salty? Yeah. He's not going to come in and be a bell cow and save your team. He's not getting drafted by the Bills or something to be like just the third iteration of what they've already failed to produce in the running back room. But in this situation, this is the perfect guy. And he's in the perfect situation to really come in and make a name for himself and kick some ass. And I think the situation is real.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it makes a lot of sense from a team building standpoint. And honestly, Austin Eckler works the best when he is supplemented by somebody like a Melvin Ingram, or Melvin Gordon, or the newly acquired Isaiah Spiller. Like it's going to be, you don't want Austin Eckler. He's around 200 pounds. You don't want him as a bell cow guy running the ball 200 times a season. He's bound to get hurt at some point. Like, have him as the superstar flash play. And then, Isaiah Spiller can take the rushing numbers, and that's fine from a football's perspective. But if you're spending a second-round startup pick on this guy, you're not going to be happy. I think you're setting yourself up for disappointment with Austin Eckler. Not
unless you're my neighbor and you're listening to this, then great pick, Austin. Austins need Austins.
But, not for any crazy disappointment, just like he's not going to be the RB2 again.
No fucking
top
way.
10? Sure. I'm down for top 10. Yeah, but
maybe.
Maybe top 10.
Speaking of top 10, we're doing that segue. The wide receiver 10 last year was Keenan Allen. Yeah. He topped out as the wide receiver 3 in 2017. And the real story here that we keep going back to is consistency. Everything about this team is consistent from last year. Everything about Keenan Allen is consistent. You could literally put a straight edge across the stat lines from the past 5 years. You're going to get 100 catches. You're going to get 1,000+ yards. You're going to get 6 touchdowns. Maybe he had a little yardage dip when he missed a few games a few years back in 2020, but he still had the target numbers. He still had the touchdown numbers. He's extremely consistent. The system hasn't really changed at all. Sure, he's 30 years old, but I think he's got at least another 2 years in the way that the way his game runs. He's kind of just the way he executes on the field makes him a superstar as a wide receiver. and he's proven that he can do that at later stages in his career. I think he's got at least 2 years still being the top.
Oh yeah,
Top 20. I don't know. I honestly don't know if he'd be top 10 again, just because.
I think he will. I don't see there's a reason. Keenan Allen is a lot like Devonte Adams in the fact that their game kind of can defy like lack of speed or like aging, because they get open because they're just phenomenal route runners, and you can't take that away from them. I mean, eventually it'll fall off, but I'm with you. Allen's got 2 or 3 more years, and I just think with the I just think the Chargers are going to be really good. I know everyone's arguing about which teams are going to be the best in this division, but I think the Chargers are the ones that are getting overlooked as the best team in this division. And I just think with success comes more success. And I see Allen as a top 10 receiver, at least this year.
Well, it's about doing it down the stretch for the Chargers. That's something they filled
that's
at.
Fair.
And with Keenan Allen, I think 100 catches, 1,100 yards, 6 touchdowns. I think he's locked in for that. I just think with the way we're seeing dynamic wide receivers, that might not be a top 10 stat line in the years to come.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, possibly. But I'm into both these guys, Allen and Mike Williams, and Josh Palmer for that matter. Yeah, I'm into it.
Okay, well, let me get into Mike Williams then, wide receiver 12. Last year, that was his top. He had 129 targets, He was getting fed. And yeah, let's see. Fun fact, during the first 11 games in 2021, Mike Williams had 5 over 20 fantasy points and 6 under 10 fantasy points. So that's the boom or bust right there.
Yeah.
It was kind of, I had him rostered, and it was not really the story of consistency. And it was tied directly to the targets. His targets weren't consistent. He did have some solid outings with less than 8 targets, but most of his heavy games were target dependent. And I'm a little bit concerned that as Josh Palmer matures into this offense and gets a more solid target share, that it's going to take away some of those really boom games for Mike Williams, and I think it'll also eat into a little bit of Keenan Allen's target share as well. So that's kind of where I'm coming from, sleeping a little on Keenan Allen. It's just the idea of a well-rounded, 3-headed receiving game, because we all know Josh Palmer has got to be the next man to get it right.
The truth, baby.
I think so.
The truth.
Yeah.
And if you were listening to RDR last year,
then you've already cut Josh Palmer.
Or you traded him for Tom Brady.
Yeah. But yeah, Keenan Allen and Austin Eckler were both top 10 in red zone catches last year. So they're going to be safe.
Yeah, they'll be all right.
So yeah, I think Josh Palmer's going to get the yards. He's going to get the targets. I don't know if he's really a touchdown guy too heavily in this offense.
I can see that. Yeah, that's fair. Well,
okay. And then
defense?
My last, Gerald
All
Everett,
right.
whatever.
Oh, I mean, if you want to talk about Gerald Everett again, it is tradition that you get excited about Gerald Everett, and then he doesn't.
As is tradition.
In addition to getting excited about Gerald Everett, I also get excited about Chargers tight ends. So, all right, let's go to the defense.
So they took 2 big swings on defense in Khalil Mack and J.C. Jackson. J.C. Jackson, obvious upgrade at their worst position on defense last year. And if Asante Samuel Jr. continues to ascend, that spot is all of a sudden a strength. And Khalil Mack's best days are behind him, but it doesn't really matter because you're not relying on him to be the pass rusher for your offense. Pairing him with Joey Bosa could end up being special because I do think Mack has some in the tank left, just he's not the predominant guy anymore. And then, Derwin James, he's still on the hold in that he's doing right now. So, that's a concern. And then his injury concerns, obviously. But if he's on the field, you're hard pressed to find a better player. So this defense should be really fucking good. and the offense should be good. This is just going to be a really good team. It's going to be a really fun team to watch, and I'm pretty excited about it.
What happens after you kick Gruden out of town?
Well, let me tell you. You bring in Josh McDaniels. That was the transition, right?
I don't know. I feel like there's a joke coming.
No, there's
nope,
not.
that's it. We're pretty lame around
I'm
here.
just getting awkward. Sorry.
I thought there was some pun. I was trying to think of some pun involving his name.
No.
I messed that up.
I wasn't paying attention.
Trying to make a clean break.
It was perfect. I'll cut it. And action. No, we're going to talk Josh McDaniels, the new head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm just going to keep this brief, mostly because I'm underprepared. But following some stat lines here, buddies. Let's go. Have you heard of a guy named Wes Welker?
No.
What about Julian Edelman?
Not even once. That's
because I know you're about to hear of Hunter Renfro.
Oh!
A possession receiver and other similarities as well. That pretty technical guy.
Other similarities? Okay.
I don't know. Following the stats. You go back, Josh McDaniels' last head coaching job, 2009. We're talking the Denver Broncos. This is a Brandon Marshall. Following the stat lines, I have to tell you, there's only been 4 times in Josh Daniels' career where a running back has had over 200 attempts. And we are talking the Sony Michel era. We're talking the LeGarrette Blount 18 touchdown 2016 year. No Sean Marino back in 2009. And then barely squeaking it by in 2021 with Damian Harris, who seemingly already had a replacement in Ramondre Stevenson. So being with the Patriots for so long, we could kind of maybe see this 3-headed kind of monster in the running back situation maybe continue to be a habit. I mean, we'll see how it goes down, but you're talking Dion Lewis, Rex Burkhead, James White, always seeming to be a PPR kind of reliability in the fantasy world on a Josh McDaniels ran team. But man, I also am very curious on the result of what Darren Waller could be, considering we've seen Aaron Hernandez and Rob Gronkowski led offense in the tight end position, and then adding in Devonte Adams. It's gonna be an interesting twist. It seems like he may have all the tools he's needed to be successful and more, minus a Tom Brady, obviously. But as far as offensive weapons, I don't know. It seems his only thing going against him is a Derek Carr instead of Tom Brady and being in one of the toughest divisions in the NFL. So with that, I will kick it over to you guys.
I can tell you something else that's going against him. Starting the preseason with the 29th ranked offensive line.
Oof.
That's going against you.
Oof.
They have some things to look forward to in there. Dylan Parham, their 3rd-round pick, could end up getting the nod at guard, which could help bump Alex Leatherwood back out to tackle, which is more natural his position. But he didn't play very well last year regardless, so bumping him out there does not mean it's going to work, even though that's where he's supposed to be. Colton Miller on the left side of the line, left tackle, he's solid, They might have found a long-term answer there, but the rest of this offensive line is questionable at best. And, all of these shiny new toys are awesome until you can't get them the ball. So that's a really big concern for this team. Now, leave it up to Josh McDaniels. He's been up there in New England. Tom Brady schemed. He's helped Tom Brady scheme offensive lines to looking way better than they are. So maybe they can pull that off. But it is a red flag with the Raiders line.
Yep, man, and it will continue to be. This just hurts, This hurts. So yeah, they didn't really have any high draft capital to put into that, did they?
Nope.
Well,
no, they didn't.
You got to play with the cards that are dealt to you. But Derek Carr was the quarterback, 13 last year, and that's pretty close to his top performance, the quarterback 12 in 2016. A lot of people are saying that he's one Bill Belichick and another O-line away from being the next Tom Brady. So you nailed it on that one. I didn't know if you were reading the same story I was reading on that one, but I wrote it, and it's being published right now. So, all right. So I think Derek Carr is playing with the best wide receiver core of his life. Of his professional career. Let's not forget Fresno State. Things have happened before. College teammates.
I think somebody on that Fresno team is now on the Raiders, right? Like one of the six. Like the
Wasn't
sixth
Brandon
guy.
Bolden on that team?
Yeah, he may not make the roster in the end of the day, but
yeah, we'll find out. Just joking. Brandon Bolden went to Ole Miss. Got to keep it real.
For anyone not getting the joke, it was Devonte Adams. You have to be hidden under a rock for the past 6 months to not get the joke, but you never know.
Hey, man. Fucking 100 degrees outside under a rock sounds pretty decent right now. But, so yeah, Derek Carr, limitless potential in the QB2 perennial outcome. Maybe he can crack that top 12 this year. I think he does. And let's get into the running back room, though. We got Josh Jacobs, right? Running back 11. He was the running back 8 in 2020. A lot of people are a little worried, right? Josh McDaniels, man, he comes from the Belichick tree, another branch off of the running back by committee. And so they're worried about him. They don't think he's going to get the bell cow role. And why would he, They didn't pick up his fifth-year option, right? So here we go. What's going to happen? Let me tell you what's going to happen. He's going to be just fine. They didn't pick up the fifth-year option for Josh Jacobs because he's made a Pro Bowl, and in that situation, he would have been owed $8 million for that fifth year. And he is not as good as the seventh highest paid running back in the league, so why would they pay him like that? You know what I mean? They're going to make him play his fourth year. Maybe they bring him back. Maybe it's free agency, but either way, this is a smart move financially to not pay that big price tag for a running back who may not be necessary the way this offense is being ran in the future. So that's where I'm at with him. I don't think the fifth-year option thing is such a negative. I think that it's just business, in my opinion.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, it changes a little bit. But, over the past 2 years, he's catching he had 50 balls thrown his way last year. So he's showing the pass-catching chops. He's got good fantasy numbers. And the thing that really worries me is that Brandon Bolden is on this team, fresh out of New England for several years running. So you got to worry about that. And let's not all forget real quick that Zamir White is now on this team, Georgia running back, who wasn't much of a pass catcher, but, James Cook is on that team. What are you going to do? So you got Zamir White, you got Brandon Bolden, and you got Josh Jacobs. And so you do have something to worry about, but I really do think the Zamir White is a future play on the Josh Jacobs insurance, and I think that he still has a stout opportunity in this offense. Call me crazy, call me lazy, but just don't call me late to dinner.
Eddie Lacy?
Fuck. Woo! Anyone want to talk about running backs? Yeah.
No, I don't think. I think you got it. You nailed it. I'm on board.
Well, let's get into wide receivers then. You've already mentioned him, man. Devonte Adams, wide receiver 2 last year, was number 1 in 2020. Hard to see him doing better than that. Here we go. Wide receiver 2 repeat be all right.
That's the issue. I think this is a classic case of it makes the team way better, but I think his numbers go down but they were otherworldly in Green Bay. You can't keep that up, especially if you add up Hunter Renfro, Darren Waller, and Devonte Adams' targets from last season. You get 390. Derek Carr threw 626 passes. So that's 62% of Carr's attempts would go to just those 3 guys. Doesn't sound like that crazy of a number. Add a little context, though. Derek Carr's only thrown over 600 passes once, and that was last season. So that ups that number up a little bit. And then Josh McDaniels, his average over the last 5 years of attempts in his offenses 551. So if you do that same 390, that's 70% of Derek Carr's attempts are going to have to go to Hunter Renfro, Darren Waller, and Devonte Adams for those three to keep up their same target share that they had last season. And I just don't see that happening. So it's really going to be, where does it go? Where does it fall off? Who does it fall on? And I think it is Adams. It makes sense. Aaron Rodgers targeted Adams an insane amount, and he should get a targeted insane amount. He's the best receiver in the league. But I just think it makes the most sense for his numbers to go down by a little bit, but he's still a wide receiver 1.
Well, I actually crunched the numbers on this, and there's 180 targets available with Zay Jones, Bryan Edwards, Henry Ruggs, and Desean Jackson, right? But obviously, the passing game numbers you anticipate going down, but you have to play to this team's strengths, and I think Derek Carr has shown that keeping the ball in the air is probably more likely to be successful than keeping the ball on the ground. I'm not saying they don't transition that way, but you don't bring in the best quarterback or the best wide receiver in the game just to shut down. Just to shut down an efficient, effective passing quarterback. So I do think that you brought up a good point. This is going to lock out any potential fourth option, who was like Matt Collar, right? Like there's no one else on this team.
Yeah.
But what I think is interesting is red zone, because we're talking about some of the heaviest red zone guys in the league. So we're looking at Hunter Renfro, who was wide receiver 11 last year, which was his best season, believe it or not. And so Adams and Renfro both had 18 red zone catches last year, and that was tied for 4th most in the NFL. So it's hard to say Adams is going to go down, right? Like he's the red zone guy, so he's going to get that big slice of the pie. But the crazy thing is, if you go back a year to 2020, Darren Waller was number 2 in red zone catches with 18, that same number. So you're looking at 3 guys in 3 different situations, all having the exact same high level production in the red zone. So that's another thing that's going to hurt Josh Jacobs' number, right? Like those red zone, that's going to be through the air.
Think they pull off each other though too, right? Because like they're not all gonna like I don't know.
This was never one place that this happened, right? This happened in 3 different places, right?
Yeah.
One team, 2 different years, and then a second team in the other situation.
Yeah.
So
but all these guys dominate in the red zone. You can only score 1 touchdown at a time, though.
That's what I'm saying. The targets, I think, are achievable, but the red zone production is where they're all going to be fighting.
Can't be. Yeah.
Exactly.
No, I hear you.
So that's the only thing that makes me not hesitant, but just weary of like which one. You know, obviously Hunter Renfro's ADP is starting to reflect his success. I can prove that by telling you out loud what his ADP is. But Darren Waller is still being considered, top 5 in the tight end world after having a slower year last year. So I don't know, man. There's just so much going on. It's just hard for me to put it all into words, hard for me to process all of it. And I'm getting there. I'm going to do it. I'm going to tell you. Renfro. Why? Why is this happening to me? Hunter Renfro, wide receiver 41. So I think that's a pretty good. Value. Yeah, I look for him to be able to sustain a startable role. So
yeah, with it.
Did I black out? Am I done?
Well, yeah, this one is an interesting team to watch. I think their Achilles heel is the offensive line, and then they have like 2 Achilles heels, which isn't good since you only have 2 heels, and that's the defense. they went for it like the other teams in the AFC West, and they went and they have a really good set of pass rushers here, Max Crosby, and they bring in Chandler Jones. But their issue is depth. They don't have a lot of depth in the front seven. Ironically, their corners are pretty good, actually. Trayvon Mullen played low last year, and I actually like the trade for RDR SZN. I think he's a little bit up and down, but I think he's a good player. So it's kind of weird that like the secondary is a bit stronger than the front seven here. I just think it could keep the Raiders out of being one of the top tier contenders this year. But the offense should be firing on all cylinders.
Hell yeah. It's going to be fun, man. Such a fun division.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Well,
take us high. Mile high.
Mile high. On to
let's ride.
The Denver Broncos, baby.
Yeah. Real quick. Did you guys see Keenan Allen mic'd up messing around making fun of Russell Wilson?
No.
Was hilarious. Go find that. He just kept walking up to people and going, "Let's ride. Let's ride."
That's amazing.
Over
That's amazing.
Oh, it was gold.
Speaking
look
of
up that video.
Russell Wilson, I love that picture I saw of him wearing his own jersey.
Oh my!
Oh, in front of that truck.
Yeah, he's a cool guy, man.
Dude,
Let's go Seahawks. That was my Sierra impression.
Broncos, we got a deal.
So we'll go on to the Broncos with new head coach Nathaniel Hackett coming from a boys team, Green Bay. Hey, man, the dude's been an offensive coordinator for some time. Started with the Buffalo Bills. Unfortunately, just like not fortunate whatsoever with his quarterback situation until hitting the Packers. Coming out to the Buffalo Bills 2013 season with E.J. Manuel, 2014 season with Kyle Orton. Then moves on to be the OC of the Jacksonville Jaguars, where he deals with the BOAT, Blake Bortles.
Hey, though he was there for that
the Super Bowl
AFC
run.
Championship
Or AFC Championship run.
So, hey.
So that's great, you know, in 2016, supplying Allen Robinson, Marquise Lee, Allen Hurns. I think we remember those years. Going into 2017, Marquise Lee, Keelan Cole, Allen Hurns. It's just a bunch of names that we wish could have been better. Unfortunately, tied under Blake Bortles. 2018 going in, we're talking D.D. Westbrook, 101 targets, Dante Moncrief, T.J. Yeldon. Once again, it's like, man, Jacksonville Jaguars, the never land for receivers. What could have been. So then kind of catches a break. 2019 moves on to the Green Bay Packers under Matt LaFleur, brought in by him. Luckily, you know, you have one of the best of all time, literally, in Aaron Rodgers with Devonte Adams. I thought it was interesting to point out that in 2019, 2020, you know, you had Devonte Adams with well over 125 targets each year. Leading second on that team was Aaron Jones. So I only mention this because I think it's interesting because even the next year, 169 targets, 2021 to Devonte Adams, Aaron Jones, 65 targets. When's the last time you ever saw Russell Wilson pass to a running back?
Marshawn?
Okay. So I'm just saying, melding the best of both worlds, we're finally seeing a Nathaniel Hackett with more than one receiver in Jerry Judy and Cortland Sutton, and an actual running back duo of what we're used to seeing with Russell Wilson, which is like a heavy running offense, and Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon. So I think melding both of these worlds together, I'm really interested to see where this Russell Wilson and Nathaniel Hackett can kind of put these worlds together and be very successful.
Yeah.
And with that said, let's hear what the offensive line's about.
Yeah, it should be a hell of a ride. I'm also looking forward to just kind of watching this play out. It'll be really interesting, just like you're saying, because he does have one of the best pass catching backs out there right now, so he should throw to him. Anyway, Looking at the preseason rankings for the Broncos offensive line, they're dead center at 16. It looks solid. They bring over Bailey Turner for right tackle from Green Bay. Nice signing there. Already knows the Hackett style offense, and Billy Turner always has outperformed what you expect from him. But that being said, he's just solid, and that's what all these guys are. They're solid. The fear here is that because you have 5 guys that are solid, that an injury can derail you really, really quickly because you don't have somebody to carry that line. So I guess they're going with the "we'll burn that bridge when we get there" type attitude, because they didn't really address that at all. They went linebacker in the second round of the draft. They obviously didn't have a first round pick. Then they go tight end in the third. I thought getting a lineman would have made more sense, but hey, it's going to be good enough. Wilson's famously bad at creating sacks on his own, so this could end up being an issue for Denver, but it's not a terrifying one as of yet.
Oh, Denver. Had to go and do it. They went corny. Here it goes. Russell Wilson. Finally, on a run-first offense. He made it to the promised land, dude. Mile High Club. Here he goes, fucking it up. I love it. Okay, he finished last year as a quarterback 16, and it was a little sad, Lionheart persevered through some injuries. Really,
A little fingy.
almost lost a finger.
Good thing you had that wheelchair to roll him out of the
I
hospital.
don't know how he would have made it out of there. I don't know.
Oh, we have to put some respect on his name because that broke an 8-year streak of being a top 10 quarterback, which is pretty impressive. We already know what he's done in his life, so we don't want to hear about anything else. You had your stuff. You're done. You're done. Now he's not done. He's playing with some of the best players that he's ever played with. No shade to DK or Tyler Lockett, but who's to say that Cortland Sutton and Jerry Judy weren't a reliable quarterback away from being on the same level with those guys? And now they got it. They got it, man. It's a little bit of a total package rolling into this offense. So, yeah. I mean, what I'm going to say, I don't want to start any fights. I don't want to go Geno on you. But let's get into the running backs. Devonte Williams last year was running back 17. And he had a slow start to the year, came out of the bye week red hot with 320-plus games, kind of cooled down towards the end of the year, a little bit hot and cold. Hard for me to get a read on it. Excitement's at an all-time high. Melvin Gordon's back. For 1 year only, right? Right?
Again? For the second straight year?
Just 1 year only this time? Come on now. He was a running back 22. Obviously he had some top fives back in the day. And he matched carry numbers with Devonte last year. He had 85 carries after the bye week. Devonte had 100. But Melvin Gordon missed one of those games, played one less game, and in that game, Devonte had 23 carries. So if you take those 23 carries away and look numbers to numbers, game to game, that's 85 to 77. Tipped in the Melvin Gordon's direction. Obviously, the passes were going Devonte Williams' way. That was nice. He was a 50-plus targets where Melvin was around 40. And that's cool, man. Obviously, in PPR leagues, you want all those catches. But as AJ brought up, if you look up the Marshawn days, the dude topped out in the 40s for target numbers from Russell Wilson. So someone better be saying, hit the running back, which doesn't really feel like a thing. You let Russ cook, right? He gets the jambalaya going, slow cooks some sausage. I don't know what he cooks, man. They never really told us what he's cooking. But
I'm not sure.
I don't know what's on the menu. But there's too many options here for me to
Corn dogs,
decide.
probably.
Corn dogs.
In the microwave, that psycho.
You got any Sprite? No, we only have Sierra Mist. Sierra Mist. Shit. That explains why his hands are so sticky. So yeah, man, I want to be excited about Devonte, but I'm just like, I just don't know if he can deliver on the current hype.
Oh, I absolutely think he can. It's gonna. I mean, if Wilson throws to him, you guys are right. That is an issue. But like you're saying, Nathaniel Hackett has consistently done it. Aaron Jones is one of the most targeted running backs in the leagues for the last 3 years. I know Hackett's only there. No, he's there for 3. So yeah, 3 years, most targeted guy. If he can beat that into Russell Wilson, I'm fine with giving my rookie a 50-50 split with the older guy in his rookie season. But it's Javonte Williams' time. I think that goes to 60-40 at best for Gordon. They brought him back, late in free agency. They just didn't have anybody else. Why not bring back a veteran who's proved it and already knows everybody on your team and has been there? I don't know. I'm not as scared of it, but it could as easily bite me in the ass. I'm taking Williams early and often wherever I can get him. And you're right. There are some red flags here. There's some warning signs. Russell Wilson not throwing to running backs is concerning. And I'm not going to lie, I didn't know that it was only 40 for Marshawn Lynch. Not really a pass catching back, but still, that's not a lot of targets for the guy who's a starter. But
Topped out at 46 with Chris Carson.
Yeah. Well, again, though, Chris Carson's not really a pass catcher, but maybe that's because he didn't get thrown the ball. And maybe Russell Wilson screws me. It would be his MO. I took him for the first time in fantasy for the last year, and it was when he finally broke that top 10 quarterback streak. And then I get Javonte Williams, and now he's there not going to throw him the ball. So my rivalry with Russell Wilson will continue if he ruins Javonte Williams. But I just think Javonte's too good. I think it's going to be really hard to not throw him the ball when he takes one to the house for you 60 yards.
Yeah, you'll find no argument from me. He would be a victim of the system, not of his own abilities.
Yeah, not his own talent. Yeah. Which can happen. It happens all the time. I'm sure there's some guys that should have been Hall of Famers that just never got the right system. So who knows? It could be. You guys are concerning me more than I was a few weeks ago.
Dude, I've got him. You know me. I've got him. I got him on
tackle rate, baby. Maybe we're just trying to bully you into trading to us at this point.
That's not happening.
I got him on the roasted league, man. I need him and Najee. I'm like a little frightened over here.
Could you say he might be a victim of a miserable Russ?
Yeah, there you go.
Sluts reference right there.
I like that. That's awesome. Okay, so when it comes to pass catchers that have really struggled, you got Jerry Judy, missed some time, was 85th wide receiver, 47th before that. We know the story. But we also know what happened when he came back from injury last year. He really took over that team, established himself, kind of was like Cortland who, Cortland what, Tim Patrick, 2 first names. Enjoy the fame because it's over now for you, buddy. You know what I mean? Because Russ is here, and he's breaking ACLs every day. Tim Patrick just was his first victim. It's too bad.
Yeah, that's real sad. And I think it's time for Jerry to step up even more. Jerry Judy, the 12 drops over his first 2 seasons isn't great. It's a bit concerning. And, if you're doing that in practice with a brand new quarterback, it'll be hard to build that confidence. But that being said, Jerry Judy has a way of getting open that other receivers just don't. So as long as he can catch the ball and develop a relationship with Russ, I think Judy's going to crush it. Cortland Sutton, perpetually underrated receiver. I'm with you 100%. I think these guys, just like the Chargers with Allen and Mike Williams both being top 20 guys, I think that's the upside here with Cortland Sutton and Jerry Judy.
Hell yeah, man. I can't wait till combined scores hit triple digits in this division,
Yeah.
And a score is 62-54. Jeez, it's going to be absurd. Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, Cortland Sutton is a guy that I was really pumped about going into all of this. You think about Noah Fant's not around anymore. Tim Patrick's injured. We've got a couple holdovers with KJ Hamler. Desean Hamilton's not on this team anymore. Is that correct? And then you've got Seth Williams.
And Kenton, the fellow that played quarterback that one time.
Oh.
Kendall Hinton.
Oh, yeah, that sounds like
Sean Hamilton is a free agent.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're looking at Seth Williams, Travis Fulgham. Wow. Okay. That's a name that we've all heard before, right?
Yeah.
It kind of feels like they might go a little double tight with old Albert O and what was it? Girth Doltrip? What did you call him?
Oh, Girth Dolchich. Yeah, my nickname that I accidentally typed. Yeah, Girth Dolchich. I think he could steal snaps from Okabunam a little bit, run two guys. I think it speaks a lot to me that they had the O-line concerns, but they still took Dolchich in the third round. They clearly thought they needed another guy in that tight end room after losing Fant. So I think he's a guy to watch. He was high on the leaderboards of tight ends in the draft coming out, although it admittedly wasn't a very strong tight end class. But still, he's worth keeping an eye on.
The guy can play, man.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, it's up to Seth Williams to see if he can step up to be that wide receiver 3.
Yeah, man. He'll finally get a win. Wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think Tim Patrick was running away with that job, and I actually had him in the sleeper category, so it's really unfortunate that we got the news, I guess last week it would have been. So
nice.
With Patrick going down, that
Easter
does
egg.
suck. But it does make that third wide receiver camp battle a lot more interesting with Seth Williams and KJ Hamler.
Yeah, actually had Tim Patrick as a bust prior to the injury. Let's talk about what who's the best wide receiver 3 Russ has ever supported. You know what I mean? He's kind of a gravitate towards
the two guys.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
That's where I'm at. I had Tim Patrick ever since I compared him to Russell Gage for the NFC South episode. I've been out on Tim Patrick after I did some crunching.
Okay.
Seemed hype heavy. But now, I mean, I obviously am correct, We'll see what he does this year. But, well, in his defense.
Yeah, nice trans.
Speaking of the defense, should be a good defense. There's one troubling area of this defense to me, and it's against the rush. Not pass rush, like literally running the ball, the other team. The inside linebacker spot is a bit tough, and I think losing Shelby Harris, just like I talked about in the Seahawks episode, getting Shelby Harris was a bigger deal than people are giving it credit for. Losing Shelby Harris is a bigger deal than people realize, I think. But this secondary is stout. This pass rush is stout. And with those two things alone, they should be able to knock other offenses off their game plan enough to keep them in all games. I just think that running defense could be a problem.
Yeah, it's not going to be a problem in this division.
I guess that's fair.
So,
not a lot of rushing going on.
As long as you can tackle a 197-pound Austin Eckler, you're all right. No, he's got to be heavier than that, right?
But yeah, probably the most interesting division race in football. I still see it as two powerhouses and two really good teams. I think the Chargers and the Chiefs are clearly better than the Broncos and Raiders, in my opinion. But should be the best division in football.
2 of these teams made the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
Chiefs and Raiders. Yeah.
So
with the backup coach,
special teams coordinator, Green Bay now.
Go.
There you go. And a loss
Screaming at
on
Amari
the
Rodgers all day, apparently.
first round. Yeah. So, all right. Well, you know what it is. This is the home division for me, geographically for him. But we're getting to some spiciness here next week when we get into the NFC East. Boy, howdy.
Did we not do the East? We didn't talk about the Cowboys and the Giants and the Eagles already? Am I fucked up?
No.
You've been hanging out with Geno Spliff too much.
Guess so. What's going on?
It's that Oregon, that good up in Oregon.
There you go.
I guess so.
Nah,
I don't
we
know
did
what
this
That's
South.
not fog, man.
We've only done the South and the West. We're going to the East because we got to save the North for the last.
Yeah, I give you guys your North
Woo!
to end it.
All right. Well, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe.
And just
Leave a
enjoy,
message.
you know? Let us know. Let us know.
Just enjoy the show.
Straight up.
Or don't. You don't have to.
Yeah, if we spur
Just-
your mind to have a thought, then we've done what we set out to do.
I agree.
Good, bad, or
Or-
indifferent.
You can hate us as long as you watch. Just hate us with like a really
Yeah.
burning passion.
Yeah. Like, subscribe, watch, and disagree.
Yeah, like
If you win your league by doing the opposite of what one or any of us say, let
I'll
us
still
know.
take credit.
Because we could just lead off with this is what not to do. And then all of a sudden, we become,
There we go.
extremely helpful.
Hey, but in the meantime, just watch out for, I don't know, Nico Collins, Josh Palmer, Alex. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Peace out.